What up, guys? HarryWilmington here. And today we're going to be answering a question from a guy who's stressed out that the girl that he's dating had several partners before him. And as much as he loves her, he also can't stop bringing up to her the fact that she slept with so many guys, and he's stressed out about it. And so this is a common situation, especially in today's society, that is going to come up because women today, they feel a little bit more open about who they're able to hook up with. They have more opportunities between dating apps and just going out in the world in general and people calling them out. And there's less shame today for women doing that. And so you may come across a woman that at one time decided to be engaged in hookup culture, and then she decided she didn't want to do that anymore. She's trying to change her life. She's trying to be with you. And yet, and still, you could feel some kind of way about that. So let's get into this guy's question, and then I'm going to go over a few things and what he should do. So this guy says, bro, I am dating this girl I first met as a hookup. Her ex was her first, allegedly, and he used to tell her she wasn't good in bed. After breaking up with him, she became a model and slept with 5 other guys. I was the 6th, so her total body count is 7, allegedly. I say that because I just know most women are going to lie about that. The old joke is like, whatever number she says, multiply it times 3. And so women have in their head, I think this is a number that is acceptable based on where I think he's at. It could be more. There could be guys she's not counting for various reasons. You just have to know that going in. Like I knew since I was a late bloomer that most women I was going to get with were probably already going to have more bodies than me. And I just learned and became fine with that. That doesn't mean that has to be you, but I'm just saying that that's not a completely abnormal thing for women to have done, is to have multiple partners. If she's saying she had 7, even if we multiply that by 3, in today's world, that is not a whole lot of people, but I could understand him feeling some kind of way about that. Anyway, so he says, at first it didn't bother me. That's a lie, because I wasn't planning on being with her. But since then, I've fallen in love with her. She never argues. She's quiet, does everything I say, and I just love her personality. She feels very ashamed about her past and regrets it. Well, I will say this, that even if you didn't plan on falling in love with her, you weren't, at the time you weren't in love with her. You were totally fine just being another one of the dudes she slept with. And then suddenly you got feelings, and you were like, oh, wait, now I feel retroactively some kind of way about her sleeping with other dudes, even though you were trying to be one of those dudes. That seems a little hypocritical, right? Anyway, he says, I've already broken up with her 3 times over this. I don't want to keep dragging it out, but my heart doesn't want to let go, in fear that I'll regret it later. At the same time, my mind and heart aren't at peace with it either. It is such a stressful situation. So here's my thing. I'm not going to judge a guy for how he feels about getting with a particular woman based on her past, right? Like, if you decide that this woman you just can't handle that the girl you're with had maybe more bodies than you in the sack, that's totally fine. But my general feeling is, at the point that you actually agreed to start dating her and falling for her, then that is not the time that you can now say, I'm going to make her feel bad about all the previous guys that she got with. Now, I'm going to go over a few things. I'm going to go over why it is that men don't necessarily like this in the first place, what the woman's perspective is, and then where those things clash and what this guy should do, right? So to start off with, like I said, I'm not going to blame this guy for feeling the way he feels. Men have valid reasons as to why they care about body count. Obviously, some people will say like, oh, it's social programming, or just guys are just, feel insecure. And those reasons could be there. But I find, honestly, it's a lot more simpler than that. To start off with, evolutionary wise, just we are biologically wired to want to be with women that we know only we've been with, because it allows us to be able to tell that if we procreate, we know for a solid fact that the child is ours. I watched a lot of Maury back in the day and still do, and the whole "you are not the father" thing, that's a guy's fear of happening, is that a woman's going to cheat on him and then have another man's kid and then try to say it's his. So that is a very real fear that you as a guy just biologically have. Another thing is health risk. Obviously, the more partners that a woman has, the more at risk she is to have a variety of different diseases. And so that is a very real thing. STD rates have been going up. And so that is another understandable reason why you as a guy would not want to be with a woman that's had a whole lot of bodies. And then, of course, there's the whole pair bonding thing. Some women will push back against that. Like, I could still bond with a guy even if I've slept with a bunch of other dudes. Statistically, it shows that the more partners that women have in their dating years, the harder it is for them to want to stay married, and thus the divorce rate goes up. And so understand that is, again, a real thing that happens. So as a guy, I get it. You have viable reasons as to why a woman that you're dating having slept with a lot of guys could bother you. We are not going to dispute that fact. Where the problem arises is that if you're dating a girl and she's told you her history and you don't agree with it, that is the point at which you should be walking away, because you have a different opinion about what that means and the value of sex, right? But if a woman is coming forth and actually telling you, hey, I had 7, 20, 25, 45, 100 bodies or whatever, right? If you decide at that point that you're going to still date her in spite of her past, then you're going to end up spiting her past. You're going to end up bringing it up whenever you can, or if she goes out without you somewhere, you're going to be like, I bet you're going to go out there and try to see some guys, aren't you? And that's the point where it's not fair to her, because if you're going to hold a grudge against her about it and you're going to like have all these feelings and you're going to push them onto her, then at that point, you're just being a bully. And you can feel some kind of way about a woman's past, but you cannot bully her about that. She cannot change and unscrew all the dudes that you're mad that she banged, okay? So you have to have a realistic understanding of, if I can't handle this going forward, then it's not fair to her that I stay in this relationship and keep punishing her for it. There are some women out there that, yes, they have high body counts. They were in hookup culture. And now that they're with you, they're realizing like how bad it was that they did that. And they actually feel legit regret and shame. Like this woman came to this man and was like, hey, I have these bodies. I feel bad about it. And she's like really trying to basically say, I don't actually like that I did that in my past. That to me shows growth. It shows maturity. And it shows a woman that is seemingly not trying to do that again. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be successful, because like I said, realistically, women that have a promiscuous past, it can be very hard for them to want to stay loyal to a guy. And again, that is a viable reason as to why you as a guy would not want to date that kind of girl. So in terms of how you should evaluate whether or not to stay with a woman that has a promiscuous past, here are 4 things to consider looking out for. The first thing is, does she respect you now? Meaning, let's say you voiced your opinion about this whole thing. Does she respect that you had that opinion, and just in her general day-to-day life with you, is she actually treating you the way you want to be treated? Is she being a helpmate? Is she submitting? Doing those kind of things. There are plenty of women out there that will not do those things, even ones that don't have a promiscuous past, but they are very important things that you as a guy need in your woman in order to have a successful relationship. Which leads to the second thing, is she loyal now? So yeah, in the past, she might have been with 5, 6, 7 dudes, whatever, but now she's just with you. Is she showing loyalty and allegiance to you? Again, if she's doing that, that's a good thing, because there are plenty of women that'll be like, well, I'm still independent, go me, and I can hang out with 5 or 6 guy friends if I want to without you, and that's not being loyal. So you got to look at, again, you could have a woman that has 1 or 2 bodies and is disloyal as heck, and you could have a woman that has like 50, 60 bodies and is extremely loyal after having learned from her past and being able to evolve into that kind of person. So again, you got to look at like, is the personality that she has, is it the kind of personality that's actually going to be helpful and beneficial to a relationship in spite of the way that she was in her past? The third thing I would evaluate is, has she worked through the various issues that caused her to be promiscuous in the first place? Again, I just found through my research and for my dating experience that a lot of women that had promiscuous past also had a lot of trauma in the past, whether it was home trauma, trauma from their fathers, trauma from previous boyfriends. And so they're trying to work through that trauma or cope with it rather, by making themselves feel really good by way of getting a lot of sex. And so you don't want a woman that still is in that mind frame and hasn't done the work. But if she's been like, hey, I've gone to therapy, I done talked to a bunch of people, I've done these various exercises, my promiscuous past was like 5 years ago, and since then I haven't been with a whole lot of dudes, and I really want to get with you, then again, that's a woman that if she's worked through that trauma, and you can see, because the point of dating is to evaluate people in the first place. So if you're dating her and you're able to see that what she says is true. Like, oh, she doesn't seem to be, going off with a bunch of random dudes, and she seemingly is like, maybe she's a little bit more patient before she gets with you. And then when she does, she's only doing stuff with you. And that's a way to tell that, okay, she's clearly gotten past some of those issues. And so you have a better shot of being able to trust her versus if she hadn't done that. And then the fourth way to evaluate her is very simple. Is she still in contact with or friends with any of those previous partners? So I'm not mad at she hooking up with 5 or 6 other dudes, but if she still has them in her Rolodex, if she still says, oh, well, they're still part of my friend group, or I still hang out with so-and-so in person by myself from time to time, then I would say that's not a good candidate, because a woman that had a promiscuous past would know that there's a chance that she would want to start up old habits again if she was hanging out with those same guys. And so by the point that you meet her, if she respects you, if she's loyal, she's not going to even have any thought in her mind that those guys should still be around in the first place. So at the end of the day, it's this, guys. If you feel some kind of way about a woman's past, then don't date her. Like, don't take her on. Don't make her the girlfriend. You are in your right to feel however you want to feel. But if you're going to say, hey, I know what your past is, and I'm still going to be with you anyway, this is the point where you stop bringing it up. She's already not trying to bring it up. Maybe she brought it up because she thought she needed to be honest and open and make you know that you could really trust her by telling you about her past. You weaponizing that and using it against her is not fair to her. And so we can't change her past. All you can do is decide how you want to react to it and decide if it's something you can handle or if it's something you can't. If you realistically know that it's going to bother you, and that you're going to feel some kind of way about it, and you're going to want to keep bringing it up to her, even in a joking manner or in a serious manner where you want to talk about it for the umpteenth time, dude, you're putting her through torture, and that is not fair. So let's decide if we can handle that, and if we can't, then let's move on to somebody else. There are plenty of other women out there that have lower body counts you can deal with. If you see her, though, as the end-all, be-all, and you're thinking, but I don't want to risk, like, what could potentially be a great relationship, it's not going to be great if you're always trying to jump back into her past and make her feel bad about it. And that's not what loving partners do. So thank you guys for listening. If you guys need more help with this kind of stuff and want to sign up for one-on-one coaching, you can go to HarryWilmington.com and click on the coaching tab. You can also go there to check out my ebooks, my audiobooks, and my Get Girls Academy program, which has my collection of all my most popular video trainings and audiobooks and all the other stuff that you could possibly want to listen to. So you can check all that out at HarryWilmington.com. Also, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.